and I've taken pictures and got back blank film.
Oh man, must have missed some good stuff.
Oh
too.
yes.
All right, well, everybody, I'm here with Stan Wright. Stan Wright is a bunch of things, and hopefully during this podcast conversation, we're going to introduce you to this man if you don't already know him. I appreciate you coming down. Thank you very much.
Pleasure to be here. Thank you. I got to warn you.
What's up?
My wife says if a rock will stand still long enough, I'll talk to it. So you don't know what you're getting. You don't know what you get yourself into here.
Are you Portuguese?
I've been accused of that. Honorary
Portuguese. I've had some good conversations with you through the years, and that's one of the inspirations for asking you to come down. It was just because, like, you know, you have great conversations here in tackle shops or across the way, but you rarely get a chance to share them with people.
Yeah.
And that's kind of the heart behind why we're trying to do this studio, is to have conversations, to share with people knowledge, you know, experiences that we've had and things like that. So that's kind of what this podcast is going to be about and what future ones will be about.
Well, I was so lucky. I think the greatest part about being a part of the Let's Go Fishing TV show, I met so many people just like you that were willing to share their love and their expertise of fishing with me. So I was blessed, man.
Yeah.
I can't say I came up with all this, but man, I sure stole it from a bunch of people. How about that? I'll take your ideas and I'll use them. You bet I will.
Well, I'm hoping. I know you've got a lot of experience in, you know, broadcast television.
Oh yes.
And you know, I'm trying to learn a little bit more about it, and in fact, interviewing. Like, I've been having issues with trying to interview, because I want it to be like a more free-flowing conversation, but I've got some bad habits of you know, like interjecting. So I'm trying to work on it. I'm hoping that maybe you can kind of help me, give me some pointers along the way.
We don't realize how many times, well, say during a filming a half-an-hour TV show or a podcast, and you say, "Oh wow, that's great," you know, but you know, when you compress that 8 hours down into 15 or 30 minutes, it seems like that's all you're saying. So I said, I better be careful how I don't say that too often.
Oh wow, that's great. So you, I was introduced to you, like the first time I ever saw you was watching Let's Go Fishing.
Right.
Let's Go Fishing. KHON, was it on?
KHON TV
KHON
too.
TV.
They owned that show.
Okay.
They owned the show. It was, and we just went out and did the filming and stuff like that.
So now I've heard different things. Were you the cameraman or?
No. Okay. I was a professional photographer.
Okay.
And one of the things that I did was go down to Kewalo Basin every afternoon and take pictures of the tourists with their fish. And then people started inviting me to go to these different fishing tournaments. You know, the Waianae jackpot tournament and the Ahi tournament and this like that. And I would take pictures and sell those pictures to the participants.
Okay.
There was one big tournament. Bruce Carter was there covering it, and he didn't get pictures of the winner. He wasn't there that day. It was a 5-day tournament. I had pictures of the winner, the biggest fish, the most ahi. The guy came in with 3 marlin. You know, I had all this. So he invited me on the show and put our 8x10s up against the wall.
So at that point, he was already doing...
Yeah, and they got such a good response that I was invited on every single week. I was the cushion at the end of the show. If the show went long, I wasn't on that week.
Okay.
But if it needed to fill a minute or 5 minutes, here's Mr. and Mrs. Smith from whatever car company that went out, this weekend.
So you were showing the photographs that you took.
I was showing the photographs that I had taken that week.
Now, back in the day, was it superimposed on the screen, or was it just holding up a picture?
They got an 8x10 and tacked it up on a wall and zoomed the camera in and took it.
Well, let's go to what years were these?
75, 76.
Wow.
Like that.
Now, the interesting thing is my family wasn't necessarily a fishing family. Me and my brother kind of got to that point later in our lives, but even though we weren't like a fishing family, we still sat down and watched, Let's Go Fishing all the time.
Harry and I were the right team at the right place at the right time. There were only 3 channels.
Yeah.
I mean, Sunday, the TV ratings were done in 15-minute increments.
Okay.
So 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, or 5:15, 5:30, the ratings kept going up as people came in from the beach. The women would tolerate the fishing to watch the cooking, and the men would tolerate the cooking to watch the fishing. I mean, we had everybody. Did you know that 60 Minutes, the TV show, the only place that they do not have their show at 5 o'clock is in Hawaii? Because we whipped them in the ratings bad every time that they moved to 6 o'clock. They were the only market.
Nobody's watching us because they're all watching.
They're all watching us.
Let's Go Fishing.
It's great.
So actually, that program started in the mid 70s.
Yes, I think so. Early 70s.
It's still on now. Mostly repeats, nothing new.
If there are any, but Ben Wong.
Yeah.
He bought the rights to the show from KHON.
Okay.
And then the last 5, 6, 10 years he was the one producing and filming and doing like that. But we're getting on up there in the years, 75, 76, 77, 78 years old, you know.
I was introduced to it in the 80s.
Yeah.
And just
that's when Harry and I took over. That's when Bruce left, and then Harry and I started.
So you came on being a professional photographer. Now, one of the reasons why I wanted you to come on is I want to talk about Mr. Kojima a little bit.
Okay.
This kind of was inspired by, I went on like a little book spending spree, and I'm trying to gather a bunch of information that I think would be essential to everybody, and also make sure that I've got a bunch of knowledge that I can help share.
This is history.
This is history. This is printed in 1983, I think it was, 1980.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I bought this online, and in it...
Oh my goodness, look at that!
It is signed by Hari Kojima, and on the bottom of it is your signature.
I don't know how that got there.
And it's kind of funny because you're making jokes, and I really do eat Harry's cooking. Too good. Was that your guys' full-time job at the time?
It was Harry's full-time job.
Okay.
Me, I was paid $400 a month.
Okay.
I don't know what Harry was being paid. I've heard 6 figures.
Wow.
But my job was to come in, I forget when it changed, but we'd like say Tuesday morning at 7:30, and we'd spend 2 or 3 hours filming the show. Okay. You know, he'd do the cooking, we'd sit in the little 2 chairs and talk over the video or whatever.
It was a 30-minute show.
An hour show.
It was an hour show, 41 minutes.
And when Harry and I became partners on this show and doing that, we went 7 years before we did our first rerun. Oh, and we're talking 300, how many? 52 weeks a year, so at least 50 shows.
Wow.
Different shows.
With no reruns.
1 hour shows.
No Alaska trips.
we went everywhere. When you think about it, I'm not sure whether you know how much a 60-second commercial costs on the TV.
Well, back when it was being KHON, I'm sure that they probably...
It was an arm and a leg. Yeah. But imagine we go to your fishing lodge in Alaska, and you get a 1 hour show out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, you talk about... That's great publicity. People were inviting us from everywhere. Come out on our boat. Come. And then, too, people just like to be on TV.
Of course.
Why not? I mean, oh, man, I'm not like that. You're just showing off. No, you're not. Come on. This is what me and my family do. And we go out on the weekend and we do the little red dip net with the kids, and we have the hand poles in the tidal park. We got the Ulua slide bait, all that kind of stuff.
That's a lot of what I remember.
Come and join us.
Yeah.
Come and spend the weekend with us. And the people love it.
Did you have a secondary job when you were doing it? Or
I had a photography business. Stan Wright Photography. That was my business. So when you saw me go and spend a week in Alaska, Stan Wright Photography was closed and not making any money.
But you got a free trip out of it, right?
I got to go on trips. There's no way I could have paid for it.
What was your favorite trip out of all of the ones you took?
Oh, gee.
I'm going to guess Christmas Island.
Yeah. That's way up there. That is way up there, because it was just, you're walking the flats in Kaneohe Bay and trying to catch a papio. And then you walk the flats at Christmas Island, and there's a school of 100 bonefish coming just practically swimming through your legs, and papio over there, and you cast at this 5-pound or 10-pound papio, and 4 or 5 5-pounders grab your lure, and it's just It's great.
Do you think that was probably your favorite location?
Oh, gee, I don't know. Where did we go? Ponape, Micronesia.
Okay.
And that was the first time I was ever in the water with sharks.
Okay.
Scared the badoozie out
Were they
of
being
me.
aggressive?
No, the local guys were laughing their tail off. They thought it was funny, the holy guys, but doing that and the kava ceremony, and I mean, it's like, when you're a kid, you see the history book and you open the page and you say, oh, wow, look at the little grass huts and the guys with their nets and fishing. God, I'd love to do that. I was able to do that.
Yeah.
I went there and I jumped in the water with them and I helped them pull the nets and I, speared the fish. And
that was kind of like still kind of connected to Polynesia. They were
Oh,
still,
yeah.
Wow.
It was amazing. They'd never seen a rod and reel before.
See,
They had what is that? They used hand lines. When they trolled.
Yeah.
They used hand lines.
Off their canoes or boats and
Pretty much both canoes.
yeah.
But it's like, they're like, what are these rod and reel things? Turn it upside down and reel
Next time
backwards.
you come back, they're running all Tiagra 130s and stuff. Thanks for turning us on to it.
Same thing at Christmas Island. They had no idea.
How did Harry get the job? I've heard the story, but I wanted to hear it because you were right there.
Okay. Harry worked at Tomashiro Market. Well, at first, what he sold newspapers.
Okay.
And he set up right in front of Tomashiro Market. And, that's another thing. You notice he spells his name Hari.
Yeah.
Not Harry.
Hari, right?
Well, Harry is his real name, Harry.
Yeah.
But when he had to sign all the receipts every month for the newspaper, it was a lot quicker and easier to write Hari than it was Harri. So that's how he got the name Harry.
Never legally changed it to Harry.
I don't know,
right.
but the spelling, that's why he spelled it that way, because he was writing his newspaper receipt.
Nice.
So then he started working at Tomashiro Market as a fish cutter, okay?
Okay.
He had a set of knives you would not believe. These, the chef knives or what. Man, he could cut anything from a 400-pound marlin down to a fillet of Moana or something.
Yeah.
But, I mean, he had all these knives. And in the old days, when we go Neighbor Island, hey, you just got this, 10 or 15 knives wrapped up in a deal, stick them in your carry-on and carry them right on the airplane.
Yeah.
You can't do that today.
No.
Tomashiro Market got a commercial on the Let's Go Fishing show with Bruce Carter. And, okay, this week we've got a special on this and we got a special on that. And Bruce Carter said, you know what you ought to do? You ought to get somebody in here on the show and you take this papillo and have somebody show you how to cut it up and what you do to cook it. And Harry used to say he got the job because he talked the goodest. But the personality, he amazed me that when he was in front of a group, he had them in the palm of their hand. He was so good in front of a group. I mean, you're just mesmerized. But I envied him to be able to speak in front of a group like that.
So when he was working at Tomashiro's Market, would he be talking to the customers?
All the time,
fish?
Yeah.
Okay.
He had a really outgoing personality like that.
So he came on as part of an advertisement for the company he was working for.
He did. It was a commercial.
Yeah.
That turned into a cooking segment.
And then the cooking segment turned into him actually hosting the show.
The people wanted to see more of Harry. They wanted to see more of Harry, like that. And
he took over the show just with his charisma. Nice. So Bruce Carter.
Yeah.
He started as the host.
Right.
And I never caught episodes of that because that was before I started tuning in. I probably started tuning in as a kid.
And unfortunately, you never will.
No?
Okay. When it started out, it was supposed to be home movies, and it was done with a 16-millimeter Scopic camera. Now, I went to, it's called Texas A&M University in Commerce, and I got my degree in photography. I've got a minor in radio, television, and communications and advertising. I have 3 minors. What I did, I kept going to school, and they finally said, get out of here. You've got enough stuff. You're graduated. Just leave. But movie making, all that stuff, and that's what we used, the 16-millimeter Scopic camera. It took 7 3-minute rolls of film to make a Let's Go Fishing show to fill up it was 12 and a half minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 12 and a half minutes.
Okay.
That's the way the show was broken up. And at that time, all the news was shot on 16 millimeter movie.
Actual film.
Wow. And they had all this development stuff there in Honolulu. Well, then they suddenly switched, I guess 1980, 81, they switched to video. And suddenly they had much better color and much better sound, and it was a whole lot easier to edit, because I remember taking a piece of film and cutting it and getting another piece and gluing it and splicing it together, and to do this. Then now with the digital, you're sitting on a computer and you're doing all this. So Bruce Carter had a type A personality, and they said, Bruce, you're always complaining, it's too much, you're not getting enough support from the station. This is what we're going to do. We're not doing film anymore, because you got to send it to the mainland it's like $25 for the roll of film, plus $25 to get it processed, to get back, and it's got to be sent to the mainland. It can't be done locally, and it's just too expensive. We're going to send a cameraman with you. All you've got to do is be the host of the show and the deal, and we'll do all the editing and again, he was very hands-on, type A personality, and they never really could come to an agreement. And it finally, he left.
Yeah.
And went home and took 8, 10, 12 years of film. And
from what year to from 1975?
From when he started till say 1980, so at least 8 or 10 years.
Wow.
And trashed it, burned it, destroyed it.
Wow.
So that is lost to history. So that's when Harry and I came in, and we had Bob Pritchard, our producer-director. I still see him around everywhere. And now we had better color. We had sound. That can be a blessing. It can be a curse.
Yeah. So before it was all voiceover on top of the film?
It was all voiceover over home movies. It's all it was ever meant to be. But now it got to be more professional. And, again, I'd studied all this. I'd done all this. This is right down my alley. It was duck soup for me.
Yeah.
And then we went like that. And then I left the show in 1988.
Okay.
Things were changing. The ratings were going down. We had cable. There were many more stations. They wanted to some other stuff. It's time to leave. I'm gone. Got a call from one of the cameramen. Says, Stan, get down here. All of that stuff that you shot from, say, 1980 to 1990 something, they threw it in the dumpster. The cameramen were going and said, I went on the Alaska trip, I'll take this one. I went, that was the show we did with Wilt Chamberlain, I'll do this one. That's the one with Willard Scott, I'm going to keep this one.
Willard Scott, Wilt Chamberlain?
Pat Morita.
On Let's Go Fishing,
Pat Morita. I can't even think of the baseball star. That was more Harry's.
Sid Fernandez.
Oh yeah, all those guys.
It was a variety show, wasn't it?
Oh, we had so much fun.
Bruh.
But
how much?
Who's the comedian? My mind's gone.
Frank DeLima.
Frank DeLima and Pat Morita on the same show.
Yeah.
Oh God, if we had a copy of that.
Were you at that day that they called you and said it's all in the dumpster?
I went down and I got a whole couple boxes of stuff because we had it. It was on what do we call it? 3/4 inch videotape.
Okay.
So all you had to do is just take it, stick it in the machine, and then as it ran, you just put the commercials in. How they.
Is any of that been saved?
No.
Nothing.
Harry got some of it, and I have no idea what happened. Some of the cameramen got some of it, whatever they did with it, and I got those boxes. I gave them to Bob Pritchard. But I don't know whatever happened to it. No.
If any of that is out there.
So the only thing that I've seen is the stuff that somebody recorded at home on their TV set. Somebody called me one day and said, I'd like to put some of this stuff together, and put it on YouTube. I said, go for it.
Yeah.
And I said, well, what about, the rights to it and the is it, I said, if anybody gives you any trouble, you just call me, and I'm going to tell them, hey, I was down there the day they threw it all in the garbage. If they threw it all in the garbage, as far as I'm concerned, they got no right to it whatsoever. That's probably
sad.
not legally stand up upon.
Well, I mean,
But-
it's copyrighted, I'm sure,
Yeah.
and then there's going to be some legal, but you were part of that crew, so
I've got a couple on somewhere. I've got some videotapes.
we need to get those up on the YouTube channel. It's just part of a
It's
history.
just sad that all that history
It
is
is.
gone.
These books that I've been going through, we're talking Peter Dunn-Rankin book.
Yeah.
I think you appear in that one.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen you pretty much throughout this. I want to call it the heyday of Hawaii fishing. We're talking early 80s to like maybe early 90s.
Another example, down off Waianae,
Okay.
the guys are trolling. They're trolling, maybe trying to catch aku. And the birds are going on, and all of a sudden the birds just sit down in the water and nothing's going on. But they're trolling, they got all their lines out. We would stop and we'd get the metal jigs, drop the metal jigs down, jig, hanaba, and catching the big tuna and stuff. Well, aku and what like that. But the average guy, the same thing with the mahi-mahi. You know, you go out, you troll by the buoy a couple times. Yeah, you see some mahi-mahi in the water, but they wouldn't bite. But most guys are too lazy to pull in all their lines, get out their little other smaller rigs, 30s with the cut bait or have live bait,
Yeah.
back in there, throw that in and catch the mahi-mahi. That's what we started doing. And we showed that on TV, and there was a lot of people very angry with us.
Well, that's one thing I was wondering about was like, so being an online presence here, like we make it a point not to discuss spots.
Yes.
Like where people go fishing.
absolutely.
We make it a point. In fact,
Absolutely.
I've even gone to the Big Island, and I've filmed. It was supposed to be a YouTube video, but we went to South Point, and I just had like a great experience there, and I decided we're not going to put the video out. Because it's just I don't want to glamorize that spot. Like it's so important to the people that live there.
Yes.
But the point I'm trying to get to is that was there drama along the way?
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
But and it was funny too that we'd get phone calls or letters. You showed my secret spot and da 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 da. It says, sir, we were on a totally different island. That show was not even on your island. But yes, you're absolutely right.
So there was back then.
Just recently, within the last 10 years, I did a story for the Hawaii Fishing News. The little stream that runs out of Ho'omalahia Botanical Garden and runs through Kaneohe down by the police station and the library. I used to go in there with the kids with our little hand poles. There's all kinds of little tropical fish in there. We've even caught smallmouth bass in that.
Wow.
And I wrote a story about it. And about a month after the story came out in the Hawaii Fishing News, I went down there. It was standing room only.
Well,
Within 2 months, there wasn't a fish in the whole stream.
Wow.
It was crazy.
It's interesting, like just little things that you do, putting a spot. They call it spot burning, where
I
you
hadn't heard
publicize
that.
a spot, and the next thing you know, too many people go in there. Things get outfished.
That's what I always tried to emphasize on the show. It's not where we go. Take the technique we're using. If we're using this lure and we're working it in this way, in this kind of a place, you've got a place just like that where you live, on your island.
Very
Go
good
and use
point.
the same technique we're doing. I never really understood the power of television. This was right at the first, before Harry and I was still with Bruce. And Mike, I went over to visit my relatives in Hilo, and I got to meet Mike Sakamoto for the first time.
Okay.
And we got our little 6-pound test. We thought the 6-pound test was ultralight at that time. And small Castmaster lures, little gold Castmaster lures, and we went whipping on the Kona coast, and we're catching moana, moano, whatever
Yeah.
whatever you guys want to call it. Yeah. There you go. And just small ones. And, I had a picture. There's Mike in his red shirt, way before TV.
Yeah.
And the beautiful scenery and a close-up of a rock with about 5 or 6 fish on it, him holding a little rod, and a close-up of the fish. And I had one picture. It was 3 little gold Castmasters 2 gold and a silver silver blue, on my hand. That's it. Just that was the picture. So I go back, do the TV show, and Bruce said, oh, what have you been doing? Oh, and I showed like 6 or 8 pictures of my adventures on the Big Island. Less than 10 seconds is this picture of my hand with those deals. So the show airs on Sunday. On Tuesday, I go down to Kita's Fishing Supply. I'm going back over to Hilo. I said, I better stock up on some lures. I go in there. He says, Stan, noon Monday, I was sold out, completely sold out of all sizes and colors of Castmaster lures.
By the way, the gold Castmaster, still to this day. We're talking 30 years later, 40 years later?
Oh, it's my favorite.
40 years later, gold Castmaster, still the standard for a lot of people.
If you could say, okay, you can have one lure, period. Gold Castmaster.
Same here, man. Castmaster.
So what you're doing now, you are the let's go fishing today. And
I was thinking about that, and I'm trying to produce YouTube videos. YouTube is our TV now.
You will reach more people than we ever did. Fishermen.
You know what? Like, I'm familiar with the online presence, but it still astounds me that there's a world of people out there that aren't connected on the internet. There is. Yeah. And, people
it's you're younger. I'm not. Well, I mean, I watch your YouTube videos.
No, but there's still people that just they don't, aren't. We call it a niche.
Okay.
Hawaii fishing. It's a niche.
Okay.
And it blew my mind to hear how much our Hawaii, because it's for us, it's our world, but it represents a small, tiny little percentage of the U.S. fishing market.
Yes.
And bass fishing is greater than ulua fishing.
But what I have found in my travels, you're from Hawaii? You're kidding. Oh, no, you guys are, you experiment. Okay, you and I were talking about the Castmaster. Okay, we take that hook off and we put this hook on. Maybe take get our lure that we're whipping for ulua. Probably the first thing we're going to do is change to a larger, stronger owner hook, right?
We don't mess around.
Or and people say, you can do that? Yeah, everybody does that. Wow, you Hawaii guys, man. That's what impressed me about Mike and all of you guys. You experiment. You don't just
tinker, man.
There's got to be a way we can do this better. What if we tried this? What if we tried that? And I'd never seen anything like that. But the Hawaii fishermen have a reputation worldwide.
Well, I mean, the lures, the trolling lures,
yeah,
they all came from Hawaii. Man.
Yeah.
It really did come from Hawaii. We revolutionized the trolling world. And I'm reading that, like, all these books that I'm picking up. Jim Rizzuto's Lure Making 101, 102, like, mind-blowing.
Aren't we glad we've got that?
Absolutely.
Imagine if that was lost. I mean, there is so much, again, and he was just like us with the TV, going to meet this guy and get his expertise, meet that person and get their expertise, and they shared it with it, and now it's there for all of us to
there's been a lot of that secrecy.
Oh, yeah.
People try to protect it. But let's get on to,
okay.
Now, this book right here, this is Pacific Shore Fishing by Mike Sakamoto. I was flipping through it. I had seen the book, never had my own copy. I had flipped through it, and when I finally got a chance to really go in depth in it, not read it cover to cover, but really scan through it, I'm astounded. This is some incredible, I don't even want to call it content. I just want to call it invaluable.
Yes.
Shoreline fishing in the state. We're talking palu bags, slide bait rigs, extensive knowledge on conventional reels, spinning reels, all the gear. This is like almost like an encyclopedia of shoreline fishing. We've got poppers.
Before this, nobody used freshwater fishing lures in saltwater.
Okay.
Nobody went out in jigs maybe, but Mike and I would get. Oh God, I can't even remember the name of it was a white topwater lure made out of, I think it was made out of balsa wood, and I can't think of what the name of it. I know they still make it.
It wasn't Rebel.
No. I know which ones you're, but
it's right here in the book.
Yeah, some of the old timers said, that that ulua papio, they'll hit a surface popper. So Mike and I go into our freshwater lures, and we start throwing freshwater lures in saltwater. Well, one thing, the hooks just rusted off of them.
Yeah.
But, yeah, papio, lai, moana, everything. They would eat those, lures, the pop, pop, pop. Rebel Pop R was one. It's a great...
I think I know which lure you're talking about because we come through... I do a lot of auctions of people's, like, stash fishing stuff. And I get a lot of vintage stuff. And I see stuff that freshwater transformed into saltwater action.
But the problem was with those... you get a 5-pound papillo and he clamps down on that, it's going to just bend the hooks, and especially those little freshwater hooks, and break the thing.
Yeah.
That's where Peter Dunn-Rankin came.
Yeah.
And he said, well, what if we made it out of more salt? I have some lures, the Pili Lures, look like somebody took a sledgehammer to them, and it's all from fish. I mean, literally cracked in half, the big treble hooks just bent down. Oh,
the wire that's running, the only thing that's holding it together is the wire that's
going through it. Yeah.
So let's talk about another reason, not just the Hari Kojima book, but this one. I noticed in the preface, he thanks you extensively for pushing him to write this book. And I was, we've lost several people from our fishing community through the years. Harry, Jim, Michael, and a lot of their stories that weren't told through their TV shows or through their books. How hard was it to, at the time, get these kind of books published?
Extremely difficult.
Okay.
Well, first you got to write. Mike was different, unusual, great, because he has his photographs in there. He's got his artwork in there.
Those
Mike
are his
was
illustrations, right?
Yeah, he was a very accomplished artist, plus his writing, and he really went above and beyond. It wasn't me and Joe went fishing kind of stuff.
Yeah.
When you read his stuff, it's like you can feel the wind blowing in your face. You can taste the salt in the air. That's the kind of writing too.
Was he a perfectionist?
Yes.
I had an impression because this book is so detailed.
But that was another thing, Mike. That's good enough. No. That's good enough. We got to get the. Don't overthink this. What you said. Let's don't overthink this.
My thing is, I work with a lot of people that I consider their perfectionism a gift.
Yeah.
But I say, don't let your perfectionism stand in the way of getting the job done.
Yeah.
And it's good enough. It's good enough.
We're out there for the fun of it. Come on.
Yeah.
Lighten up a little bit.
But man, this Pacific Shore Fishing is incredible. I also have his other 3 books. I'm not sure if I'm missing one. I've got How to Hook and Cook.
Yeah.
How to Hook and Cook. And the other one I was able to find was 101 Fishing Tips.
I think there's some more.
You think there's more?
You know that little bitty yellow one?
No.
Okay. I'll have to get you a copy of that.
His show.
They got everything. His daughter she's got everything.
Please, I know they already started uploading some episodes, and I just went to town on one where they were fishing here in Iroquois Point.
Uh-huh.
And they were fishing right outside where our Boy Scouts used to have.
Oh my gosh!
Right outside where the Boy Scouts we used to have our meetings, right on the beach, and they were fishing right out there catching o'eo, and I'm just like, those episodes, man. When was that time period? Fishing Tales of Mike Sakamoto.
That started in the 90s.
90s.
And Mike wanted me to leave Let's Go Fishing and come and work with him on the Fishing Tales show. And I didn't do it. I just sort of felt a loyalty to KHON.
Okay.
Dummy.
But I remember seeing you on the shows as we went along, and I remember, and I remember running into you at a Zool show, and that was just within the last 10, 12 years or so, and I'd be like, that's the guy from Hawaii. That's the guy from Let's Go Fishing.
I cannot believe that people still remember me.
It had a major impact on people's lives. It was the Sunday. Like, there was the Cosby Show on Thursday. There was Let's Go Fishing on Sunday. Mike Sakamoto show was on KGMB.
Yeah.
They never ran next to at the same time, did they? They ran 1 hour after each other, just staggered. And you would watch one and you would watch the other.
And then when Mike went on cable,
okay,
it was, or not cable. What do you call it? It wasn't on the 3 major stations. It was one.
OC16.
Whatever that was, and it ran like 5 times
throughout the week.
The week, and people would watch it every single time.
Yeah,
Mike couldn't believe that people would do that, and and they'd check it and they'd check it again.
Well, I've been on Hawaii Goes Fishing a few times, and I will notice like when those reruns come on, they'll be like, "Hey, I just saw you on TV. I just saw you on TV last week," and be like, "Oh, which one was it? Was it the drone or was it the Minpachi?" And they'd be like, "Oh, it's the drone one." I was like, "Okay, so I'll probably be hearing about that for the next week."
Yeah.
And it's I want for that kind of program to come back, but I want it to come back in a way that's helpful,
Okay, well, people would come and say, "Well, I want to be on TV. I want to be on TV. Get me on your TV show." And said, "No, it didn't work like that. You invite us to go fishing. What do you do?" "Oh, I go out Eva Beach and we whip for a wheel." "Well, how about inviting us to your outing?" "Oh, I can't do that. You're going to show our secret spot."
Nah.
It doesn't always work like that,
Well, I love this conversation because it filled in a lot of the blanks. I wasn't really familiar with how long Let's Go Fishing ran for. We were talking about 75 through 88.
I was on it 75 through 88.
75.
I think it started in the early 1970s or
early 1970s. And it's
69.
All gone.
It's all gone.
That is
everything that Bruce did, everything that we did. Yeah. It just terrible.
Wow. Well, it's burned into the minds of people. If there's anybody out there who has your uncle's VHS tapes that says "Let's Go Fishing" on it, get that digitalized, upload it to YouTube. You have.
Hey, I'll watch it. I'll watch it.
I'll watch. Oh man, there's a few episodes. There's a few episodes on the YouTube, and then the Mike Sakamoto's Fishing Tales is slowly being uploaded. Yeah. Last time I checked, there's a few great episodes. The Big Island stuff is incredible.
But can you imagine what some of that stuff would be? The old billfish tournaments from the 70s and 80s, man. And the Conamalca Trollers and all those
Granders and stuff like that coming up.
All those different shows that were done.
Wow. Let's talk a little bit about your work with the Boy Scouts, because you mentioned it a few, BSA, Boy Scouts of America. I noticed your patch, Certified Angling Instructor, BSA Fishing. How long have you been with the Boy Scouts?
Oh, geez. 43 years. That's counting my time being a Cub Scout, time being Explorer Scout, time being a Boy Scout, and also I think from 1980... 89 is when I first started volunteering. That's when my son first joined Cub Scouts, and I've been pretty much an adult volunteer since then.
Ever since then.
Yeah, but this certified angling instructor it's an 18-hour course.
Wow.
I flew to the mainland to Philmont Scout Ranch and spent a week. Oh, somebody's got to do it. That's a hard job. Classes in the morning, trout fishing in the afternoon. Trout fishing in the morning, classes in the afternoon.
And they've got all the streams and everything right next to it?
Yes, all over the ranch.
Before we go any further, if there is a kid or a parent watching right now that is interested in getting their kids into Boy Scouts, where would they go to get there?
Just call Aloha Council or just Google Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts of America.
Yeah,
Aloha Council is a Hawaii.
They've just changed the name. It's now called Scouting America or Scouts America or something. But Aloha Council
still there.
And they'll say, "Oh, where do you live?" "Oh, I live in Eva Beach." "Well, we've got this
troop here,
and this all-girl troop, and this
and it's pretty much free to register, right?
No, it's not.
Okay,
it's getting expensive, but don't let price be a. We've got scholarships for people if they can't afford it. We'll get them in.
Okay, so
that's not a problem.
I was a Boy Scout.
Yeah.
My father got my brother and I into Boy Scouts, Weeblos, Cub Scouts, Weeblos, Boy Scouts. Yeah. I stopped before I got Eagle. Yeah. Thomas got Eagle Scout, but through the years, things that I have learned in Boy Scouts to sew. Some of the cooking things that I learned, like getting into cooking, fishing. First aid is big. Still to this day, first aid is huge. Knot tying. So many things that I can use in my practical life I learned in Boy Scouts.
Yeah.
Like daily use.
Well, they say, everybody should become an Eagle Scout. Well, only about 3, maybe 4% of people, the scouts, will become Eagle Scout. But the guys like you and me, we got up to tenderfoot, second class, first class maybe.
Yeah.
If we can do that, that's great, because we can go camping, we can cook, we know our first aid, we can pitch a tent, we can purify the water.
A lot of things you learn.
We've got a nice appreciation for religion and love of country, patriotism, I guess. It's all in there. So if we can get, that's what you and I are. We learned our basic skills. We learned our basic skills.
Is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. Yes, sir. Still remember.
I'm impressed.
I'm a little, like, when I wouldn't talk about growing up in Hawaii. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't talk about, I'm a member of the Boy Scouts. I would kind of hide it.
Yeah.
I would kind of hide it. But I tell you right now, man, I learned.
That's the way it is now.
It is still. Yeah. It's still kind of shame.
Oh, what do you call that? Oh, jeez, I can't think of what they call it. Secret Scout or.
Oh man, it's sad.
Okay, I went to an Eagle Scout not board review, where they give them the medal. It was at this big church, one of the LDS churches over in Kaneohe.
Yeah.
And I'm meeting everybody and everything like that. And the 2 boys that earned their Eagle, they come and says, where's your son? Where's Chris? So I don't know. How do you know Chris? Oh, well, we soccer together. We go fishing together. We go to the same school. Neither one knew that the other was in Boy Scouts.
Oh, they were both in Boy Scouts?
They were both Eagle Scouts, and neither one of them knew that the other was in Scouts.
Boy Scouts was
Phantom
was
Scouts.
Great.
That's what they call it. Phantom Scouts.
But man, camping, Pupukea.
Oh yeah.
My dad actually, the Barbers Point campsite.
Yes.
That was my dad.
Oh my gosh.
Tom Newton. He was the one that organized. He got the property from he got the Navy to let me use that.
I've camped out there.
Yeah. So our troop 151 was the troop that kind of cleaned up the area, and then other troops came in. Everybody chipped in, built the fire pit. And we would go camp over there all the time next to the tennis courts.
Yeah.
But that was my dad kind of helped organize that back in the day. But I tell you right now, if you got a boy that is just self-reliant, like the kid that hops on his bike to go fishing every afternoon, Boy Scouts would be pretty great for him.
Oh yeah.
And it's not about keeping him out of trouble. It's about learning some skills that over time just essential. All these books had major influence on a lot of people.
Oh yeah.
Because you can get so much information from your uncles, your dad, your brothers and stuff but this is a plethora of information.
It was amazing, the different stuff that we tried to do. And I know there's pictures in this book that I took on those trips over to Kaho'olawe. Of course, the Navy didn't care too much for us getting in there.
Stay away from our bombs.
That was something. But man, I tell you, we had so much fun. And again, it was all experimenting.
Yeah.
I know there's a picture in here someplace. Oh, there's me.
There you are.
Look at that.
Oh, look at that young man.
Yeah, that kid. Here, this is what I'm looking for.
Okay.
2 fish
on one lure.
2 fish on one lure. Can you see that? I remember the day I took that. But nobody did that kind of thing, and they'd hit the top water, and you ask any bass fisherman, any fisherman, there's nothing more exciting than a top water hit.
Because you get that visual. It's not underwater. You don't know what's going on. You get to see that fish's mouth.
You see them come up there and whack it.
And you know already. Yeah. You know what it is, too. You're, whoa, we got a big old bass. Or you got a big old, it's a Milu.
I see color. I see color.
Yeah. Hey, I'm going to stop it right there. But this is not going to be the last time you come in. I thank you for taking the time to come down, and thank you for sharing your knowledge and just your experiences, man. You helped me fill in a lot of things that I was kind of always wondering. And you know, you had relationships, and you've been in the thick of things throughout the years. And if you haven't heard it from somebody who was influenced by the things that you did, mahalo. Thank you for all the hard work that you put in. Thank you for the hard work that you put in with the Boy Scouts. You've probably influenced thousands of lives along the way.
It's scary. It's scary.
Thousands. and
all these guys, Mike and Jim, and we're here.
Even Harry.
Yeah.
Edward Misaka.
I learned so much from that's, you know, you grow up in the mainland and you get a minnow or a worm and a pole and a rod and you can catch anything. You come to Hawaii
and you're a fish out of water.
Oh my God. Okay, this one only eats seaweed and this one only does this and this one only comes out at night and this is, where is that? Give me a book. And this is the first book that I bought.
Edward Hosaka's Sport Fishing in Hawaii.
And any of the other books that came out. And again, I got to meet all these people.
You're in most of these books, man.
I'm in most of these books because I was
one
with
of
them.
the best fishing books that I have tuned into in a while. I mean, the Rizzuto books hold a special place in my life because of the library fees that I got from the first time I discovered them. But this one right here is incredible, and you wrote the foreword. Stan Wright wrote the foreword. Thank you, man.
Thank you.
It's always a pleasure seeing you. And
good fun.
If you like the video, show a little love, leave a like, and subscribe, and aloha. All right. Cool.
You're working all week and you no more time to fill your tackle box. Just go online to HiFishGear.com and buy your fishing stuff.